No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. You are watching The Morning Dump. I am joined today by Austin Picard, my co-host on Already Dead. And he shows up to a lot of these as well. More of a hangout. We've got a lot of developing news these days, and in the realm that me and Austin like to cover. So this seems, maybe we should in the future start maybe I don't know. You said you're home a lot during these times, and there's days I work where I'm not. I mean, we should probably, I don't know, maybe we should figure out a way to get continuity so there's always a morning dump every single, you know what I mean?
Right.
The days I don't do, I don't know, just throwing out an idea. I was just thinking about it. That's something that could then probably go out on both platforms. I don't know. We can workshop that later.
Sure.
We got wild shit going on these days. I'm glad to have you with me, brother. We're here today, 10:30, a little bit later than normal. Sorry, guys. Just woke up a little late. Got everybody in the chat saying morning. Good to see y'all. Good morning, morning dumpsters. We need to come up with a name. We need to settle on a name. People keep changing names. Dumpers, dumpsters, shitheads. I don't know. But what's up? What's up, Austin? Wild few days, right?
Brother, I'm like, honestly, if you're looking for, it's the perfect world for pattern recognition, right? For people who are, kind of like I mentioned the other day, how pattern recognition has almost become a superpower, right? And it's like, it does seem that way when these events take place, right? Because you don't seem to, at least as easily fall for the propaganda at face value. And just like some strange synchronicity that I discovered in regard to New Orleans was that even the New Orleans police chief, right, Ann Kirkpatrick, even she has like some very strange background where she was fired from her position in San Francisco, I believe, in maybe Oakland, but it was up there, right, in Northern California, and she had been fired, and essentially because they had lost total trust in her, allegedly, right, like the local officials. And then she goes to New Orleans and takes up this position, and apparently while on duty, she strikes two pedestrians with her vehicle in the French Quarter, and it gets under this, like, apparently there was this huge scandal, and she received a lot of scrutiny for that and criticism. But you listen to the woman and she sounds like just a very, like, eccentric person, right? And it doesn't surprise me at all that certain individuals who kind of like surface in times of crisis like this they tend to have these strange backgrounds that you can point to.
Well, yeah, I
That-
mean, we were talking
right?
about the Maui fires. What was it, yesterday? And it's like
Yeah.
you look at the police chief was the same police chief, I believe, from Vegas, and then the fire chief, which is what we were talking about yesterday, also just so happened to get busted for diddling some 12-year-old or some shit.
Mhm.
Which is like, obviously these are disparate things, but this does come back to the pattern recognition, knowing what elements to look for or to be concerned about, at least. That obviously nothing there is conclusive, but it goes. Makes you go, what's going on here?
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Hey, real
Yeah.
quick before we get too deep into it, and to give time for more people to roll in through the chat, I did want to take a second to let you guys know about our sponsor, to pay the bills. I have the skills to pay the bills. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at NWJ Shave Co. If you're tired of the razor burn, the irritation, those ingrown hairs that you get from those deep penetrating multi-blade cartridges, then this is the way to go. Return to the traditional shave. You don't need that expensive bullshit. You can shave just like your grandpa used to, whether you're shaving your whole face or edging up your beard. The single blades provide a barber grade shave for a fraction of the price. The standard issue includes one traditional safety razor and a box of 100 stainless steel razor blades. That's $75 to shave for a whole year. Let's be real, though, that just completely depends on how frequently you go through that. I've barely put a dent in mine. It'll probably last me for years to come. But if you are someone who shaves on the daily, you may want to consider the Quarter Shave Club, because that may not cut it for you, the 100. But at that point, it costs you about 25 cents per replacement blade. He's also got shave soaps. He's got 3-in-1 body, hair, and face soaps as well. Smells great, feels great. This is a COVID mandate refusing company. This company was born out of refusing the mandate. That's where it got its start. Keep that in mind. This is a company that supports your values, supports this show, and it's a better product for cheaper. So it's a no-brainer. Use code Jose for 10% off your entire order. Let them know I sent you. Go buy now. All right, let's check in the chat, see if we got anything new. No, nothing new in the chat. I guess we can start getting into some content. Dude, do you have some tabs for us today?
Oh, dude, I definitely have a couple videos I wanted to show because, at the very least, it raises some eyebrows, I would say,
Yeah.
especially considering like who inevitably was tapped into, I would say, right, the modern version of Mockingbird, right? They tap in their media assets, whatever the case is, as far as like to provide this false alternative narrative, well, this false official narrative to the public, especially directly after the event takes place. I think that occurs very often. And yeah, so they have all these various actors that they can utilize, and I think
They're Leanna
usually
Wens.
the Leanna Wins of the world,
Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of these people, they have like very strange spook backgrounds as well, like Rand Corporation ties and Georgetown University, and right and yeah. Anyway, do you have something to show as well?
Oh yeah, this is just where I wanted to start. If you had something to say,
Let's
we
start
can.
there,
We
buddy.
can.
Hey,
People can get me mad at me for cutting you off, because I will say I love you, but sometimes I am like concerned where I just think like you're kind of like in a cycle, or you're
Hey,
trying to
bro,
stick the landing, but you can't think
I
of the word
need
to
you
do
to
it.
do that for me
And so that I do
sometimes,
kind of
man.
jump in to go, oh, is this what you, or try to distract you?
Hey,
Because I do think what happens is you get in a loop and then you realize like, fuck, I didn't land it like I wanted to, and then you come back through the loop and you're like, I'm gonna stick the landing this time, and you're like, shit, I didn't stick the landing, I'll do it again. And you're like, well, what is he going for here? I don't know what
crazy how
he's really
accurate
trying to
that
get.
is.
And
That is so fucking accurate. That's hilarious, man. So no, I
but yeah, I
need you,
wanted to
brother.
play this because this is what we finished off yesterday, where we got the breaking news in the chat. Thank you to, I forget who that was in the chat, but thank you for letting us know. That way we got that scoop in yesterday early for you guys, because otherwise you wouldn't, if this is your only way of getting news, you wouldn't know till today. So because this stuff is like all very, very like new stuff. But yeah, this guy, the dude from the Cybertruck, we're gonna try not to jump around too much. We'll try to stick to one story or the other, but they kind of, that's the thing. They're both spooky. It'll be hard. We'll probably jump back and forth accidentally, but this is the one for the Cybertruck thing. This is related to, I guess.
Before you start,
Yeah.
that's crazy, because to that point,
Real quick, I just want to say sorry. I don't mean.
Yeah, no, you're
I
good,
didn't even get it out, but for the audience, this guy Livelsberger in the Cybertruck one, apparently his body was found inside the truck with a gunshot wound to the head. So that's what's weird. Was it before? Was it after? But go ahead. I just wanted to get that out there so I didn't forget to say the actual thing I was trying to say.
Sorry, brother.
Yeah, you're good.
But no, it's hilarious to me because that is that's exactly what I think did occur with what I was alluding to as far as like the asset that was brought in to provide this official narrative seemed to connect the two events himself, right? Which that seemed scripted to me, not as if they aren't connected. I do, clearly believe that they are to some degree. We don't have yet any sort of smoking gun beside the fact that there's
like
the Fort
Elon
Bragg connection.
I feel like Elon may have said something alluding to their connection and
Right.
fairly early, because I
I'm
remember
telling you,
like
man.
some of this is kind of was my point yesterday. A lot of the way he is acting feels just kind of perfectly scripted or how it would play out, but it's also like that doesn't necessarily mean he's involved. It is also just that he is capitalizing on an event that he can capitalize on because obviously it involves his name. He is at a was at a slump PR wise. So even if he has nothing to do with any of this, it is kind of like it would make sense for him to be on the ball on it and be like, this is a story that clearly is going to look good for me. So I may as well fucking, but it is hard not to be like the pattern recognition guy and be like, oh, that's also exactly what you'd be doing if you fucking were involved, buddy boy.
Absolutely, dude.
But it is because there is Quay Bono or what the fuck they're saying, who benefits. It is like, he kind of benefits a lot from this. So, I mean, everything kind of lined up perfectly for him for this.
And something I was unaware of, which might also be some sort of psychological factor within the narrative, is that the Ford Lightning, it was a Ford Lightning that was rented that allegedly it's an EV. Right? Considered to be an EV. So both
they
vehicles
ran out of
rented
Cybertrucks.
that
They
day.
go, do you have any electrical vehicles we can use?
Idiot. It's just so ridiculous.
They're like, fuck, it was supposed to be a Cybertruck. That's what the contract said. Electric will have to do.
That's so crazy.
Can you imagine if the original plan was 2 Cybertrucks? How much more crazy this would be? And people would get the connection right off the bat, and they're like, I don't know, maybe they'll get it with electric. Well, whatever, fuck it. Well, they'll figure it out. Just
Who knows,
fuck it. We're
man.
going live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Oh man.
Yeah, that is wild. It was an electric truck because it looked kind of like a beefy Ford 150. I think it was a Ford F-150, wasn't it?
F-150, but
So
it
it
was the
just kinda
new
looked-
Lightning model,
yeah.
I believe. And I
Okay.
believe that their EV.
That's so
they're-
gay because it looks
Yeah.
super manly and beef and how
No.
can you be electric at the same time? I don't like that.
I
don't like that at
remember
all.
that
Yeah.
being one of the downsides to the new Ford
Yeah.
Lightning was that it was EV for sure.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's a Ford F-150, but it might suck your dick. So
Exactly. Oh man.
yeah.
Hilarious.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, let's play this video. I don't know what all's in it. I know I've seen it shared a lot, but I believe this is one I've seen people referring to. This is where they're talking about that shot. It's the caption from my buddy Clint Russell says, you have 2 options. Special Forces dude took his own life before setting off an explosive that was designed to be minimally lethal but highly symbolic. 2, he was killed by someone else and the Cybertruck was self-driven or summoned to its location. So, so obviously, let's go ahead and play it.
Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle.
I mean, it did. At least it did say at his feet, so that does line up with suicide. I don't know if I ever told you. I've run. I actually, in real life, I have run across a suicide, and it was someone who shot themselves in the head with a pistol. And yeah, it was at their feet. That's kind of where it just naturally fell. So that does line up, but and it does make you wonder. Let's say if he did do it, did he drive it all the way up there, and then set explosives, shoot himself, or was he dead, killed beforehand, and the Cybertruck was driven? Because it's my understanding a Cybertruck's supposed to, or cyber vehicles are supposed to stop if you're asleep or whatever. So the idea that so then did someone nerd fucking hack that thing to where they could bypass
Right.
that so it can move a dead body. I don't know. Bizarre. I mean, there's more to this. I mean, I have more tabs on this guy that we'll bring up that do kind of point to like this is bizarre. It doesn't seem like this is a dude who killed himself. You know. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this or if you have any other tabs you want to bring up before I bring up my next one. But yeah, that was just them confirming that like you've been shot in the head. So yeah.
Man, I had seen a few posts about this dude with the Cybertruck, Matthew Livelsberger.
Mm.
Matt Berg, I guess is what he went by. I'm not sure, but that's what I keep reading. And yeah, it says that he changed his signal safety number just before the explosion, and then his photo and safety number changed after the explosion. And this
Yes.
from the Signal app, right?
Yes, I remember something like that. I
Mhm.
I don't know if I bookmarked it, if I have it saved somewhere, but I swear it was something that said like changed his name or something too. Like
Yeah.
and not like it was like changed it entirely, but like the difference between like I don't know, he's a military guy. Let's say he had his name
Right.
in as Sergeant Bob, and then he just changed it. Oh, now I'm gonna put Bob Murphy instead, or
Right.
whatever. It was something like that. Yeah. So it was bizarre. That was like literally after this dude's supposed to be fucking dead. So
Yeah.
then people are like, well, I mean, I saw someone just like, well, maybe forensic teams are inside of it right now, and you're like, yeah, but you'd think they would try to like leave it as untouched as possible. You would think.
Yeah, you would think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
We got someone said feds, and then pointing finger up. Yeah, that's what we're getting at. We're just trying to be precise here.
Exactly. Oh man. But
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
also have right here. It says, I guess Elon sent a Tesla team to retrieve the truck's interior camera footage. So if there's footage inside of it, you'll see it. So because he's like saying, if we see the footage, I'll believe it was number one, which is his situation of him shooting himself in the truck. Or number two, if we don't, because the data was corrupted or whatever, you can bet the house it was number two. So like, we lost the surveillance footage. It's like, oh, tale as old as time. Okay,
Right.
it's feds.
You're right. And
You
how
know?
far did he drive the Cybertruck? Because wasn't it like he would have had to stop at plenty of charging stations, you would think, right? And so that would have led some sort of, you know,
I don't know. That's a good question.
trail of breadcrumbs in a way, right?
I've never even thought to like look and see from where to where it went, or I don't even know if they even know that yet.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they just know dude showed up, boom.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that
I
makes
was up in the
sense
air
to me, though.
yesterday. I was seeing mixed things about whether there was even a body in there. People were saying there
Right.
was, there wasn't, and because I don't know if there was like official word. People saying there was, and like, oh, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, so I don't know. That was up in the air yesterday. So I don't know, I'm kind of rambling now. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just think that would make sense as far as like the investigative tracking of like, because clearly think about how strange it would be to rent an electric vehicle and drive it a long distance to commit a terrorist act. Like just the long distance itself is just kind of unmanageable
Well, we
and
don't know if
very
it was long distance.
inefficient.
Do we know
Yeah, I
where
know,
to
but
where? Okay.
the at least in terms of at least the Ford the Lightning, it could potentially have been some sort of hybrid, possibly. So you could have driven it from Texas to New Orleans without any real issue, and I'm sure that it's not really as difficult as I'm under the impression it is to travel these long distances, but I definitely know that you would have to stop at a few different charging stations. So I'm wondering, just as far as the investigative standpoint, whether there was a long distance traveled with the Cybertruck as well, because that kind of, I don't know, that seems even more strange to me, right? Like that electric vehicles would be involved in traveling across the country to stage a terrorist act.
Dude,
I don't
modern day
know.
Gladio, dude. You stuff
Yeah.
some fucking spook inside of a fucking truck, set it to go. Fucking,
Right. Did you
there
see
go,
those?
bud.
Did you see those messages that Richard posted
Yes,
between?
I have those
Holy
saved. I didn't know
shit.
if you had anything else specifically on him. that you wanted to bring up in the meantime. But yeah,
I
let's.
mean,
I'll go
beyond.
ahead. Now that we mentioned that, I'll bring it up. I didn't know if you have your
Go
own
ahead.
tab saved up. I know you
Yeah, I need
hardly
to
ever
pull them up.
share stuff
How
on
the hell
these.
do I? How do I do it again? I always forget, dude.
Yeah,
That's
do
why.
you use a laptop or desktop, or what do you use?
Yeah, I
for
use
these?
a laptop, and
Okay.
my whole issue is I split my screen so I can
Gotcha.
have like a bunch of shit pulled up at the same time. You know what I mean? And constantly like look stuff up.
Well, if
So
anything,
yeah,
once you get good with it, that'll actually help you a lot because then you have a lot to pull from. But yeah,
I
you
know
just
that.
go to the bottom of the StreamYard screen. It says present. It's next. It's in between settings
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
invite. You click present. Go to share screen. From there, you'll be able to choose Windows or Chrome tab. Preferably
Nah,
use tabs. Like use tabs from your browser because
right.
Windows. A lot of people have access issues when it comes to the volume. I think it was you or somebody that recently had that issue. So yeah, just try to use the whatever is in your browser. Use those different tabs and pick one,
Cool.
and then there. So
Cool.
yeah,
Let me pull it up real
but
quick.
yeah, I have a few different ones. I have his burnt ID. I have the messages.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, I have some stuff from his family about him. That's about all I have on specifically Livelsburger for today. I have some newer stuff on Shamsid Durka Muhammad Jihad guy. I have some stuff on him, and then also just kind of the some of the public facing statements about this, the angles, because we definitely gotta talk on what Trump's statement on all this was here soon. For
sorry.
sure. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see this,
real
right?
quick. Truth says, did all this happen on the 31st night or the 1st of January? Yes.
Yeah, it was.
It was literally.
Yes.
I think it was like 3 a.m. So it was
3
it was technically
yeah.
the 1st, but it was
Yeah.
like a New Year's thing. So it was like the middle of the night. That's why I was being
Exactly.
silly and said yes. But
Which, by the way, that dude, he, the perpetrator of the New Orleans attack. I need to get these guys' names right.
yeah, that's I always it's like Shamsud.
Shamsud. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun name to say. I just can't remember it.
is.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
I have it somewhere.
He lived extremely close to his masjid, Islamic shit
To
mosque,
his, like,
right? To the mosque
yeah,
that he
yeah.
was attending. And anyway, again, I do think that there has to be.
Shamsud Din Jabbar.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I do. There has to be some sort of connection to, I would think, very similar to that of Abu Taba and the radicalization Islamic seminary course, because again, it has direct connections to the Masjid Bilal of in LA, which is directly connected, has a lot of different Saudi intelligence connections with which tend to overlap directly. If you consider like Adnan Khashoggi and Jamal Khashoggi and everything that happened within the context of the Epstein network and Iran-Contra, it starts to make a lot more sense. I saw Adnan Khashoggi was like, dude, he was like at an event with Paris Hilton and like Jimmy Savile, and like it was insane how many different people were involved, and it was very clear that Ghislaine Maxwell was trying to set up Paris Hilton when she was like 17 years old. Like it's kind of shocking. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off. So
Yeah. Now we're talking about child sex trafficking networks.
Yeah, my bad. But so yeah. This dude right here, his name's Bruce Hoffman. All right. And we'll get into his background because this dude, he is an American political analyst specializing in the study of terrorism, counterterrorism, insurgency, and counterinsurgency. Now, he he has also been a professor at the School of Foreign Service of Georgetown University, and is a director for the Rand Corporation, right? With direct CIA ties. And so this guy is exactly who you would want to bring in if you want to have a discussion about a recent terrorist event that just happened domestically, right? If you want to seed a narrative. But listen to I want to see how far, because I listened to the whole thing.
And
I
you
can't
said this
remember.
dropped like right after too, right?
Right
Like,
after that, PBS brought this guy on.
Okay, so
And
this was like an interview literally within hours, or what were
yeah,
we talking? Within
yeah,
6
it was
hours,
within
within a few
like
hours?
less. Yeah, it was like less than 12 hours. I can't
Okay.
remember like
Okay.
exactly the time, but certainly like when you watch the whole clip, she leads in very scripted, as they always do. But when it's just overtly scripted, and it's very obvious that this is an important narrative that's intended to be portrayed in the right context, right? That kind of presented itself. I think they start a little late, so you don't quite hear her like lead into the interview, but yeah, he's a CIA-backed Rand Corporation Georgetown set. Like he is, one of the usual suspects, and so yeah, I find it interesting that he kind of draws the connections in certain ways that seem to be, a priority involved with these attacks.
The suspect was an Army veteran, and he had an ISIS flag in his truck, according to authorities. How significant is it that he had that ISIS flag, and what else stands out to you?
The ISIS flag is enormously significant because it's very clear he was trying to situate this act of violence in a political context.
There you go. CFR, Jesus Christ.
Context and show allegiance or support of ISIS's aims.
Law enforcement has said that they don't believe that the suspect, Samsua Jabbar, was acting alone.
Does this sound fine to you? It sounds awful to me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. Pause it real quick.
My bad.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just just trying to see if there's any sort of reason why. Go to the settings, so maybe we can lower the bit. I don't know if it's an internet thing. I mean, you guys tell me, chat. Is it coming off as fucking weird to you as well? That came off as like glitchy. Like I could make out some of it, but I couldn't. It was
yes, some. So I know, because it sounded perfect on my end, but it sounds like I'm fuck. Here, I'll just send you let me send it to you on a DM. See if it.
Yeah, I mean that should work. You just what did you bring it up on? Just a browser?
Well, I did bring this one is in a tweet. So
okay, well that's what I do. I mean that should work just fine. Try it
Yeah.
again. Maybe now that you pause it, it'll be buffered. Just press play.
Dude, that trips me out.
Involved, or what this means.
Same thing.
This is what's so alarming about this particular incident.
Same thing.
Yeah, do you have like shit internet? What is this?
Oh, shit, it's possible, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Other than like lowering the bitrate resolution or whatever, if you're able to do that. I don't even know if you're able to do that anymore. That's like old school shit.
I don't think that would be. I mean, I've shared things before, so I don't know why the hell this would be
bizarre.
a problem.
Let
me send this to you, and see
maybe it'll go better on my end. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll try.
All right, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, you sent me in a tweet. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, let's while you send that over, let's go ahead and bring up another one then, just so that is bizarre how glitchy it is. But
maybe
let's
it's
see. Yeah, here's
maybe
the
it's the Rand
ID I was telling about. It says, this is from Jason Bassler. It says, "Hi, I'm the FBI. You might remember me from such cover-up." Says, "Oops, Epstein's jail cell, camera malfunction, and 9/11 hijacker's passport found in the rubble. Get ready for our latest unbelievable narrative. Exploding Tesla driver's ID recovered at the scene." Which, all right, here's the ID. Now, I will say, on this, it's completely believable that this thing survived, honestly. I mean, it wasn't really even that crazy of an explosion. Anyone who's had a DOD ID, I've had one just like this before. This is, they're pretty, I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, I'm not saying it's like fucking super duper beefy, but so far as IDs go, it's like on the... Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like you can see the plastic melt on the outside, but it's got like layers.
It's just
and
so
layers
funny
and,
that it's like
it's
we just
funny,
keep getting we keep getting these minor victories that really have no ultimate
but it's
as
super
far as...
believable. Honestly, it really is. It's
100%,
believable that a weak ass car bomb that didn't do like shit hardly. Essentially a flash fire that a thick piece of plastic would only be minorly bothered, like be a little singed. This completely makes sense. So, but it is
I
funny.
sent that to you on Twitter, by the way. I didn't
Okay, yeah. Let me see. Let me bring it up. Messages. Here we go.
Isn't that hilarious though? Like this guy from the Council on Foreign Relations and the Rand Corporation and the Georgetown University, right, where they have direct ties to, the finders, and I mean, how many different, organizations that are connected to intelligence when it comes to, these certain various networks of abuse, right, and trafficking. But I'm not surprised that this would be the guy, brought in for this purpose.
Yeah. Real quick, I will say, someone did say in the chat, they said he was burned beyond recognition. Now, I don't recall that. So now, if they did say that was the case, if they said the body was burned beyond recognition and that this ID was able to exist, then no, that's bullshit. But I mean, I've seen, there's video of the Tesla exploding, I believe. So like, you can see it from, so it is like, I mean, the idea that that would burn a body beyond recognition is also silly. Like, I would guess it would probably, burn off all your hair. That's about it. And then probably leave you with second and third degree to burns, scattered throughout. Like, I'm not even sure if that, like, that would, maybe that'd kill you. I guess it's being that
like a
close,
really hot, long-lasting fire, right? To actually like do like.
Yeah, I mean, flash fires. I mean, have you ever like accidentally fucked up setting a grill and like been hit with a flash fire?
Oh yeah.
Like I've gotten like blasted, like fucking like someone kamehameha'd my face with fucking fire, and like all it did was just burn my eyebrows and gave me stupid looking bangs, and I was like, oh, fuck. I mean, I did that when I was like in high school, and I had like really sick hair too, and it fucked it all up. But yeah, that's all. Like when you get hit with like a flash like that, I mean, I would think with like a car bomb, him being right next to it, it would probably kill him. But I don't think it would leave the body beyond recognition. You know what I mean? Like, so unless that's just them being saying, oh, it was gruesome. I mean, but that's different than saying beyond recognition.
Might have melted his face or some shit.
So I will say that if that's the case they're making, if they're saying that the body was burned beyond recognition and this ID fucking managed to make it, then yeah, that's bullshit. So because it's like, yes, if you were in a fire bad enough to burn a body beyond recognition, it also would take out a DOD ID. Right? It's plastic, man. It will melt. But if it just gets hit with flash fire, you're probably just gonna singe like the first layer or maybe two of plastic. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would melt your face off.
100%. Probably. Well, it depends on how close you are, right?
I think you would need a sustained fire. I don't know if it would like actually, like, it would melt it in the sense of like probably to the degree of like second and fucking, but I don't think it would like literally melt it off. I don't think it would get much. I mean, it would obviously be enough to kill a human being, but we're saying the difference between killing or like making you completely unrecognizable, like beyond recognition. I don't know. I saw the explosion too. I just saw that the confusion on how they said he was burned so badly, but the ID wasn't bad. Could just be something to stir the shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it also could be your face being melted. That would be, but I mean, you would still have dental records. So I guess beyond recognition, I guess it depends what you mean by that. Yeah. So Uncle Ted says, how do you shoot yourself then set off the bomb? Well, bombs usually have a timer. Because, I mean, that's a big thing that's brought up commonly in the Oklahoma City bombing thing is they had, like, I believe it was det cord, I think they used, that has, like, essentially a timer set to it. So, like, when you the cord, like, you see in fucking childhood cartoons where there's a cord that, like, and reaches up to the bomb, it's literally, like, basically that. So, yeah, you could.
That's why I always thought it was
you could
so
set that,
compelling.
kill yourself, go to sleep, and then boom,
Oh, absolutely. That's why I always thought it was so
kill,
compelling, the witness accounts of the clay charged or the what was the clay putty that was used in basically potentially setting up the detonated or the charges used to detonate the Merle building. You know what I mean? Like as far as like the putty that was potentially used. You remember the witness?
Oh, you're talking about it. Yeah, that's different. That's different than the truck bomb talk. But it's a C4
sure.
That was a Graham and somebody else. I forget their name, their full names. But they had two chicks, two separate women that had both made claims of seeing, separately of seeing people in the parking garage, I believe, like the day before, what looked like was setting C4 charges, essentially. So, yeah, that's what you're referring to.
That's what I always think of anytime that I think about det cord or like just rigging, a building in general.
That's even referring to John, like the idea, because there's, if you look at the different people who saw McVeigh and stuff, and then try to match up how this worked, that is one thing that comes up frequently is how did he set it? Because I can't remember how long of a timer they claim was supposedly on the truck bomb, but it was like something like a minute or two or something. And the idea of that, like, so you would be able to like, light the fuse, run away or whatever, do whatever you got to do, because that becomes part of like how they time who did what and blah blah blah. So
you remember the alleged video, right? The video evidence that went missing that showed the John Doe that showed him getting out and being the last one to leave the Ryder truck.
It's almost as if he tried to put it out and then realized like, oh fuck, and then like
crazy,
and then it's too late and then had to run type deal, like, because there is a timer. So the idea is that, like, if the idea that is a theory thrown out by a lot is that it was a sting and that it was supposed to, like, John Doe 2 was supposed to stop at the last minute. That's why they had all these different feds that were essentially on deck, ready to go. Is that essentially everyone was ready to swoop in for the big, like, woo. There's also the idea of the two different trucks. So this is where people get into the idea of, like, if it was a sting, that perhaps there was a decoy truck and that they were sending the feds on like a goose chase going after the other decoy truck. Then when it was all too late, it's like, oh shit, just kidding. They swapped it, likely also possibly from the courthouse to the federal building. So it was like multiple things that got swapped last minute. And then
that's
John
how
Doe 2 probably
an operation,
is
right?
And then John Doe 2 probably of the mind, like, oh, I'm gonna fucking, as soon as McVeigh or whoever sets this,
you can
walks off,
compartmentalize this shit.
Yep.
Yes.
And then he goes, oh fuck, this isn't like how it's supposed to be.
Exactly. My God, man. And then plausible deniability for everyone who's compartmentalized within the operation itself. So it's not on one single individual person. We all contributed, right?
We got Ken saying, I'm thinking of the unidentified leg found from the Ryder truck. Yes, there was. That's a big thing that comes up a lot. There was a leg that had a blousing strap. For anyone who's ever served any time in the military knows that is a unique thing for military members. Most modern military members don't even use blousing straps. So even then you have to be like an old timer fucking military guy to know what a blousing strap is. But essentially had fatigues and blousing straps. I believe it was darker skin too. So the idea is they never were able to place who that leg belonged to. It's also the idea of that it clearly experienced such a level of explodiness to where the leg came off. So a lot of people theorize, like, was this thing like right next to the bomb? Why is he wearing military fatigues? Blousing straps are literally, if you're a military, like what you wear the fatigues, and then you take the blousing strap as this thing that goes like over your socks, under the pant leg, and then you roll the fatigue material under it. That way you almost have a tucked in pant leg look. So like a blousing strap is a very, very specific item. And a lot of people think it was some sort of like ROTC member that was there at the time. But anyways, that's what Ken's referring to. But anyways, let's watch this video before we go on. I keep going on too much of a deep dive on Oklahoma City bombing.
My bad, dude.
Let's watch this completely not spooky fellow from the Consul on Foreign Relations who shows up within 12 hours after a major spooky fucking terrorist event, domestic terrorist event. Let's go and play this.
The suspect was an Army veteran, and he had an ISIS
Let me know if it sounds weird for you at all, but I'm going to keep playing.
flag in his truck, according to authorities. How significant is it that he had that ISIS flag, and what else stands out to you?
The ISIS flag is enormously significant because it's very clear he was trying to situate this act of violence in a political context, indeed in a terrorist context, and show allegiance or support of ISIS's aims.
Law enforcement has said that they don't believe that the suspect, Samsua Jim.
I also just want to make a note. This is PBS, public broadcasting. Keep in mind that's what this is. It's all sorts of grants and stuff. It's essentially government propaganda. So keep in mind, that's what PBS is. They say public, so it is sort of funded by the public, but I also think it's funded by a lot of grants and stuff, which is sort of the public, but it's just like we've talked about what grants are, or the different like entities that are they're supposedly 501c3s or whatever, but they're just cutouts for the government. So let's be real. PBS is Globo Homo Goislop, but let's go ahead
and
and
mouthpiece for the deep state. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Globo Homo Goislop. Yep. Let's go ahead and play.
Jabbar was acting alone. So what can we infer so far from what we know about who else might be involved or what this means?
This is what's so alarming about this particular incident is it wasn't just a matter of someone getting in a truck and driving from Texas to Louisiana and carrying out an attack. It's believed that at least 2 other improvised explosive devices were found in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and that several other men and a woman have been captured on video planting them there. So this suggests some conspiratorial dimension to the attack, which means that this may not be isolated.
Right. Authorities did say in the last few hours, though, that they're not sure if that man and woman were involved or connected to the suspect. But there's a lot that we still don't know. And again, based on the information that we have so far, how likely is it that the suspect was inspired or directly linked to ISIS?
It's difficult to say. It's clear that he was going through some personal crisis. He had financial problems, for example. He was recently divorced. He's a recent convert to a religion, for example.
This is so
all
recent
of those things
after
may
the
have
event,
played
too.
in his.
Yeah, like you said, it's
Interesting to
supposedly
have all
within
this,
12 hours.
right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess if you guys keep in mind, like the coverage, it was just yesterday on the show at 10 in the morning. Well, it was later, but that we were like went into his identity. We didn't have him on the identity yet in the first day. So I know. I guess this probably was timed where he could have already had that, but I don't know. It just seems that he has all his details pretty damn well ironed out so far. But yeah, let's keep playing.
His mind of doing something daring, dramatic, and violent that would all of a sudden catapult him into some sort of infamous notoriety, but notoriety nonetheless, as opposed to having been a failure at everything else that he's tried. And what we know from the recruitment and radicalization of individuals is that members of terrorist organizations, handlers, play on individuals' personal weaknesses or their personal traumas and attempt to get them to engage in acts of violence that in normal circumstances they might never have contemplated.
Okay. It sounds like he's talking a lot about the Shamsa thing is what he's talking about. So,
At the end of it, though, it's like I wish I would have had to have like really edited the clips together because it's a longer interview, you know. But there's a couple other moments in that PBS interview with him that struck me as kind of, you know, just again, like I said, like it's very much a red flag for me, which was he connected the two vehicles being rented for, you know, to be used in an explosion event. He connected them, first of all, just in the same breath. He connected the two events, and then he also said specifically that they were both electric vehicles, and so that's what instantly drew my attention to was the Ford also an EV? And I don't, you know, just mainly because he put it in those terms, right? Like they rented both electric vehicles, and he said it in a way that was very unique and kind of, like I said,
it is weird that he even made that connection. Yeah. Because like I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it today. It just doesn't seem like a very strong connection. I don't know. Yeah, it does seem very, very glowy.
That's what it felt like.
Let's go ahead and read this. This is one you were talking about, Richard found. It's from Nick Sorter saying, just in the alleged LA or Las Vegas Cybertruck bomber reach out to the ex-girlfriends excited about renting a Cybertruck per the Gazette. The wording there is atrocious. I rented a Tesla Cybertruck. It's the shit. Feel like Batman or Halo. He texted one of his girlfriends. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and look at these clips. So these are just, you know, we don't even need to read his commentary. It's just beside the point. We can look at the photos. Here's him with an ex-girlfriend, I guess. I guess he's still kind of hitting her up, you know. You know how it is when you're a single dude and you got a bunch of ex-girlfriends. You got to keep them on rotation for some slam pieces. So yeah, it looks like that's what's going on here. There's a photo of her, kind of cute. So here is something about the past couple years. How was Germany? Oh, okay. It's been wild. So much learning and fun. I rented a Tesla Cybertruck. It's the shit. I'm building drones in my new position. You would love it. That one is the one like of this whole exchange that I already looked at this stuff and I was like, that's kind of weird. What a weird thing to say. But I guess he's just saying in his new job he's building drones,
especially with all the drone
that being on his
hysteria.
List of stuff. Yeah.
But all the hysteria with the drones, brother. Like, is that not strange to even be mentioned?
Yep.
I don't know.
Weird shit. So. I mean, fuck. For all I know, one of the fucking Palantir fucking murder drones came out and shot him in the fucking head and fucking carried him off into a Cybertruck.
For real. For real. My God.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's what he's saying. I rented a Cybertruck and it's the shit. I mean, I don't know. This sounds dumb, but also this sounds like a guy who's trying to be like kind of flirt, like kind of somewhat flirty with a girl. That's like trying to, but trying to cutesy, because he's clearly still trying to fuck, but okay. Then we got this photo, more photos of the Cybertruck. He says, I feel like Batman or Halo. She says, I don't know if it's cool or if I should bully you about it. How fast was it? He said, ungodly. Goes, it matches my Kobe 2 shoes I had when I was little. She said, it's Kobe's final, most powerful form. Did you really have shoes like that, nerd? LOL. How's your mom doing? Yeah, Google them. She's still the same. No change. So lame. Said, oh, I bet you look so cute in those. Did you keep them? Nah, they were stinky. That's it. I mean, but it's just the idea of, kind of like where his head was at.
Right.
So when was this? This was on Sunday. What is today? So this happened on the first. So this happened on Sunday. So that would be the 29th. So 2 days essentially prior to the explosion. 2 days and some change, I guess. So that's kind of where he was at 2 days before. So we have an idea where his head at. He's still trying to get nookie. Still hitting up his old lady. He's having fun with it with this new Tesla. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the idea that he was in the spot where he was going to fucking, for some weird ass reason that we don't know why, was going to fucking go make an explode over at Trump Tower in a Cybertruck and kill himself. We're not. It doesn't seem like this are the actions of a man who would do that. It's I think the biggest takeaway here.
Yeah. That's what stuck out to me most of all was just once again. I think Richard was onto something as far as him saying he had no idea what was coming. It made me think of, like, you remember the Havana syndrome hysteria that occurred where they were kind of like actually for the first time and the public was sort of like debating over this potential like unacknowledged weaponry, right? This advanced technological, as far as like sophisticated and even utilizing electromagnetic frequencies of of certain kinds to like manipulate, right, your psychological framework and also to make you sick, right, which was the Havana syndrome aspect of it all. But I thought it was interesting because it made me think of not only James Holmes but of it made me think of the Tsarnaev brothers, right? Like Tamerlane, right? That was my first thought was Tamerlane Tsarnaev, mainly because I think when you see just this kind of like, it seems like weaponized schizophrenia, in a way, right? Where they like all of a sudden you can, and they admitted this much as well, as far as like, I remember Homeland Security actually admitted to the existence of this technology as far as it can legitimately behave, force an individual to behave in this psychotic, schizophrenic manner. It basically, facilitates these characteristics, and so I think that again, it's just like Dr. Robert Duncan in the James Holmes episode, right? Where it's like the level of achievement, what they've been able to achieve as far as the evolvement of this sophisticated technology and advanced capability of just operational, strategic capabilities in the field, right? Like, I think we're entirely unaware of what they're able to accomplish. And you know what I mean? It's like, let alone the what Robert Duncan was saying about, program ID free, where they're like legitimately they have these like groups of Manchurians that are untapped all over the world.
Think about all the files Gottlieb burned.
Exactly, man. My God.
Yeah.
It really does become something that is very extraordinary.
The only reason we have MK Ultra docs is because it was what they didn't destroy the backups that were in like the finance department or some shit.
Yeah.
So it was like, and even then, like most of the stuff we know about MK Ultra is like sifted through the coming from the framework of like mostly just being about like finances. So they're like having to backtrack. It's not even like it's like we're getting the files are like, and this is what X, Y, and Z having to like, no, we're just getting specifically like the budgetary stuff and then having to backtrack from there, like kind of reverse, like under like, oh, well, we have this stock sheet that says this money came from this and we can put this together with this. So like you're literally having to backtrack. So it's not even like we got the original and we're only getting a piece of it. So
right.
Yeah, there's probably so much. They don't, or it really was just complete bullshit, and they just felt embarrassed by how much awful things they did in the pursuit of supposedly something that has no real benefit. Although I struggle to believe that. All right, let's go ahead and play this. There's a video Doctori420, one of the, he's actually in the chat right now, shared to me to bring up on the show. So let's go ahead and bring this up, see what they have to say. About a minute 14. It says, family of accused Trump hotel bomber Matthew Livelsberger, described as a big Trump supporter, questions the incident. His uncle, noting Matthew's special forces background and patriotism, claims it doesn't add up, arguing he had the skills to create a more sophisticated device if he truly intended harm.
Damn.
So we have that. I will say, look at the photo of this guy. Are they fucking like...
Brother.
They catfishing us? I feel like the other photos, he looked better. He looks fucking goofy as shit here.
Dude.
No homo, but I just like the other ones. I just kind of liked anything with like kind of Chad, and he just looks like a dork here. And like, so I don't know, just bad photo. And I just was caught off guard by that one dorky photo, but like kind of looked like a stud in all the other photos. And all of a sudden I'm like, what is going on here?
Agreed. What's funny though, you saw that before you play that, you saw that he was wearing this Slava Ukraine shirt, right?
Yep,
is that not a ridiculous connection in itself? I mean, my God.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and play this.
You can see the Cybertruck highlighted there.
Oh, he was active duty. Sorry, I just wanted to emphasize that. I see in the bottom scroll thing, it said he was active duty military. I didn't know he was still in.
He was still apparently involved with special forces, I believe.
Fuck. Okay, all right, let's play.
So through extensive surveillance video, we were able to track him leaving there, and we know that he went to several different places along Las Vegas Boulevard, and he spent some time in a parking lot of a business near Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. We didn't have a video of the truck.
Yeah, look at that guy.
Yeah, fuck that.
What the fuck is going on here?
For real.
That's the same fucking dude. Fuck you. It's not even the same. Like, I've looked at 3 different photos, and none of these
that
are the
looks
same
like
guy.
a different person, man.
Yeah, the other photo, this photo, the one they showed at the beginning. I mean,
that does not look like that same dude.
What the fuck is going on? Yeah, and then I saw the photos of him with his girlfriend or whatever. I don't have that tab up anymore. I kind of wish I did because I want to look at it. What the fuck, dude? All right, one of you fucking dump heads or whatever the fuck you guys are called, need to do side by side of all the fucking Matthew Livelsbergers that we've supposedly been given.
Looks like at least 3 at this point.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? Fuck you. at least get the same actor. Don't fuck. What are you fucking with me? All right, I don't know. I mean, okay, all right, let's play.
Video of the truck pulling back onto Las Vegas Boulevard from the sands. See that there? That's north on the boulevard from Sands.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said it looked like he couldn't even take the turn, dude. That was kind of
the idea
slow
is that
as hell.
it's driving on its own at some. I would assume. I mean, I guess we don't know if it's driving on its own. If he's driving it, I guess that we can kind of try to decipher that by looking at it. But even then, it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if this is slowed down because it kind of does look like someone just kind of cautiously entering into a right turn, you know. Right. So I don't know, but I guess we can watch that turn again.
It's at 8:39, where he then immediately heads to the Trump Hotel, pulls into the valet area.
It seems slowed down too.
Yes, you all know,
it probably
the explosion occurs within 17 seconds of his arrival at.
Okay, that was a pretty. All right, I take back some of the shit I said about the face. Yeah, your face.
It's a big ass explosion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big. I only saw the angle from the other side. I mean, I still think a fucking ID would surprise it, and your like dental record and stuff would be fine. I just think like your face skin's probably gone.
How long was the truck on fire? Because isn't that that's what's so wrong with the Teslas, right?
They stay on fire.
You can't put them out. You can't.
Oh,
put them out,
that's a good point. Right? Yeah, because that would give credence to both that he melted and how the fuck do you have a friggin' military ID?
Fucking A.
Because the military ID would. I mean, they are beefy. I think they're like literally laminated like a bunch of different layers of plastic in there, so it's like they're pretty sturdy. but it's still they're plastic. So if they are in literal fire, it will melt. So
Right.
like,
Okay, so
at
the
least I think
battery
so.
was
I've never tried to
intact.
burn my DoD IDs, so I don't.
Right.
I don't think they're flame retardant.
Dr. 420 says Elon said the battery was intacted.
Intacted. I don't know what that
Intacted.
means.
What does
I
that
have no
even
idea what that
mean?
means.
But
He
I don't
was
know.
on leave from Stuttgart, Germany. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. As a spec ops guy, come from a Germany base.
Right. Yeah. Got Strassmeyer vibes now, dude.
Ray Shaw says, I don't know. I saw a younger
it
photo
was
from my school. And he looked like
intact.
a big
Word.
fucking loser. I mean, maybe he was. I swear I've seen photos though where he looked kind of studly. He looked like kind of the special forces guy. Yeah. So I don't know, but it makes
Usually
sense.
all the feds, if you go back to their childhood pictures, look like that.
Yeah, I mean, why else do you become super duper superhero special forces guy?
Exactly.
Like other than like you were kind of a faggot in high
You're
school.
drooling on yourself.
You're overcompensating by being awesome. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that might be all we have on on the Cybertruck guy. I got a bunch more on Abu Dinju Jarbars Assad or whatever the fuck. So, but I don't know if you have anything more on that before we change gears and go swap over to Shinsuit or whatever the fuck his name is.
Sounds good. I did see this this response as far as to the fact that they allowed these journalists from the New York Post to just like do the tour, right?
That's the next tab I have ready to go.
Nice. I saw the reaction to that by this dude on Twitter that made two good points that I thought were perfect, because he goes, the FBI literally seized the U.S. Capitol Lego set from a J6 defendant, but they left the Quran open to a passage about martyrdom next to the bomb-making station sitting in the terrorist's apartment. Sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's fucking perfect.
The funny thing is I actually think I saw that comment somewhere too. This one's from Mel at the Village Crazy Lady. She's actually had a lot of good stuff. She's the one who covered the Matt Gaetz thread, and I think I covered other threads of hers on her here before. She's had some pretty good stuff. She goes, okay, what the fuck is going on? I feel like I'm losing my mind. We're less than 48 hours from a supposed ISIS-inspired terrorist attack, and the FBI just let this rando journalist into the suspect's home totally unguided and let her show off the warrant and the chemical seizure list on camera, along with all this other perfectly staged props like a Quran and his chemical workbench. Nah, nope. Not buying any of this bullshit. Y'all are trying way too hard. We couldn't get the Nashville Shooters Manifesto for over a full year, and y'all are giving thoughts and yoga pants full access to a potential terror cell planning site 36 hours after a terrorist attack. Fuck you. I want a refund. Pretty well put, but I guess we're going to watch this video now. Keep in mind, this is a journalist, so going into the alleged killer's house, but I guess we can probably pause and
during
stuff
an
as we
open
go.
investigation, which is very strange. During an open investigation, which is very
Bizarre.
strange, right?
Yeah, it literally is a chick in like a cutesy little plush jacket and yoga pants. It's literally what it is. Like, that's just some fucking generic, thought off the street. Fucking. All right, let's go ahead and play this.
We are here inside the New Orleans terrorist home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some...
Which I don't get that and why you would do that. I mean, I guess unless the idea is that you're worried that explosives are set or something, you need to get through somewhere else. But all right, whatever. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky. Let's go.
Signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here, lots of different chemicals splayed around, and different electronics. This is, again, a work...
It looks so staged.
Yeah. It really does.
Yeah, all right, let's keep going.
Set up, left receipt.
It doesn't even they're saying this is chemical workshop. Like what okay, what is going on here? There's nothing on here. There's looks like some fucking some sort of weird little something other, like he's making like fucking, I don't know, Warhammer 40K figurines or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that's what it looks like at the bottom.
It does.
Right? It looks like he's like doing like little fucking itty bits of paint or glue or something. You know what I mean? Those are tiny little containers.
Right.
Like, that's not like he's making fucking explosives. I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, maybe some explosives require some fine work with small materials, but like, I feel like for the most part, it's just kind of like probably a container of this explosive, that explosive, mix them together. I don't fucking know. I've never made explosives, but I guess that's technically not true. I have definitely broken down sparklers when I was a kid and made homemade explosives for fun, but but even still, it wouldn't have looked like this. But all right, let's keep going.
Set up, left receipts, just very
But I'm not crazy, right? She called it a chemical fucking like work table or some shit like that. Like that's where the bomb making happened or something. Like, dude, that's a desk with a couple like with some fucking whiteout probably. Like, but okay.
in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here.
All right, so they have the warrant perfectly laid out on like splayed out like for display. Literally, they have this. Essentially, it does look like the FBI has this staged for a journalist to walk through. To be fair, but that the idea that you have a crime scene staged is like, what the fuck is going? The fact that you would let this broad just walk through, I get there's probably someone behind the camera saying, "Don't touch this, don't touch that," but this does just feel way too produced. But all right, let's go.
Which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray.
Especially because if you think if they were really trying to escape, they would get someone big. Like this is just some. I have no idea who this bitch is.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
in my life,
she didn't even like announce as like I'm Sophie Clemenson from WGTV.
Exactly.
Ocean. Like nothing. Like I don't know who this is. I mean, not to say that like you need that, but it's just bizarre that they would just give a golden scoop like this to fucking Sally down the street.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but all right, let's keep going.
There's a bedroom back here, and what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Qurans, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here, but mostly books on Islam, and his prayer rug just to the left of me here. And if we go back, there's another bedroom here. You can see he left all these belongings, contact lenses, personal belongings, bathroom. This seems to be some sort of workspace, again, with other chemicals here.
Okay, all right. Okay, because I saw people in comments mentioning chemical workshop, so I was thinking that she was saying that was the thing. Okay, so this is a little bit more plausible.
Definitely.
Even still, it's like, what do we got? Even got there? I don't know what the.
We're on the
some sort of
Hollywood
bottle
set of the New
Germex.
Orleans crisis.
I see Elmer's glue in the back. That almost looks like a container of like earplugs for like shooting or something.
Backstage at the Bourbon Street Massacre.
Yeah. Ooh,
honestly.
That green little memo book, that is 100. I will say that is. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I might be wrong. That looks exactly like the little booklets we were given. I was given in the military that like a lot of them people had. This is where we wrote down like because I was an aircraft mechanic, and so like say we would write down like sources for like different jobs to be able to refer to for like how to fix this job, that job. So that kind of looks like the generic memo book they gave out to like all the military people that you use for whatever your given job was. So I don't know, that's weird. I mean, I guess he's prior military though, so and it's a pretty generic looking memo book. So maybe it's just like that elsewhere, but so far, even then, I'm still not seeing anything. I think maybe that might be a scale we're seeing in the back. I mean, there's paper towels, but this seems like a pretty low-duty fucking work table. So far, it doesn't look like really this is where I would suspect bombs to be made. Although they could
step
be
up
made.
from Fight Club, basically.
Because I think he was doing like IED pipe bomb type things or something. I don't got exact word on what supposed the IEDs were. But it sounds like he was probably doing smaller stuff. It's not like he's like making truck bombs or something. So this is something you could probably do. I would assume you could probably make a pipe bomb on your normal fucking garage workbench. But all right, let's keep going.
Lights still on. Some kind of station set up here. We're not.
Yeah, there's a scale. I was right. That was a scale plug in. I mean, really, there's nothing damning here at all. Really, it's just a normal. It's a normal workbench you could see in most places. The scale is weird. I'll give you that. That makes me think. That does imply. It does imply possibly explosives because it is like that would be something you would need to do is you would need to weigh that shit out. So
not really sure what that was for. In what we can assume was also a bedroom. You can see clothes left here. and just a sign that someone was here up until those last few moments when neighbors said he left just before the New Year's holiday, saying he was done with his lease, it was up, and he was on his way to New Orleans where he would live there. Didn't take any furniture
What the
because he said
fuck?
his new home would be furnished. That's all we know so far.
Okay, so the official
Hey,
story
man.
is he just up and left and moved to New Orleans.
Right.
Let
And
his
everybody
place
in
like
his
this.
family, this is what I found interesting.
Huh.
That everyone, well, the FBI released the timelines officially, allegedly, officially, the official timeline, but yesterday. But what I found interesting was that the vast majority of his family, his sister-in-law, I haven't seen one person, as far as that was, knew him personally, claim that this makes any sense at all. They say this is entirely against his character. He wasn't even, they said that one of his friends said that he did, practice, uh, fundamentalist Islam, like sort of in a way when he was young, but then like, broke away from it for years and years. And then just recently, very recently had come back to this sort of, back to his roots of religious ideology, and but still in no way was he saying that it was through this radicalization process. He was, every single one of them said he's the nicest guy I've ever known. Like that was legitimately the quotes that they were making, and that just fits perfectly with Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Exactly the story that I heard from him and Zahar. It was exactly the story his teachers told all his classmates and the people Tamerlane was training with as a he hadn't yet become a professional boxer, but he was very much attempting to work himself in that direction, and was very talented actually from everything that I've read. And so again, it just like it kind of fits in a way with the just again this sort of right resurfacing strategy that I've realized seems to be just par for the course when it comes to these what inevitably really, I mean, when you look at all the different alleged claims of, they're not actually acknowledging the fact that there's an ongoing investigation into alleged, video surveillance that shows these other perpetrators planting these explosive devices. So that proves that he wasn't acting alone, right? But then you have all of these official publications running with this mainstream narrative that this guy acted alone, right? Shamsuddin Jabbar acted alone. And that's what I'm seeing consistently becoming the narrative. And that's not at all what the officials have said in regard to, the closest authorities to the case itself.
It feels like Oklahoma City bombing stuff all of a sudden. Like it feels like there's some sort of discrepancy amongst the powers that be on what angle they want to go with this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which feels like, once again, like Oklahoma City bombing, it is almost like, the CIA from the top was really trying to push the Haji angle. FBI seem to be kind of, leaning a little bit into the bomb rob, ARA angle, but then that seemed to get curtailed later once they seemed to hone in more on what they wanted. Obviously, as time went on, they decided, moved away from the supposed Haji's angle. They moved away from the assisted angle, and they went to McVeigh with a little bit of help from Nichols and debatably 48, depending on how you look at it, type deal. Right. So I mean, you see how these things shake out. I mean, we just looked at the Council of Foreign Relations, which is probably about as good as a indicator on what the official narrative from the top is, and he seemed to very much want to lean into the conspiracy, others involved, point out all these angles. But then now we had people, so I don't know, this could be a thing of like where the op was so sloppy, so they distract away from angles that they know won't sustain further digging. So they move it down the angle. Maybe sometimes you realize, we fucked up. Now we just got to go with it was just him. It was just him. Yeah.
And I also I wonder how strategically efficient the technique is to just flood the airwaves with fucking misinformation, man. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So
yeah,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
have us in this weird chaotic mode of debate where we just can't quite, come to an agreement with just the fundamental facts of the case, let alone
Yeah.
right. So I think it's kind of casting a lot of doubt as far as just in general when people are trying to kind of like conceptualize this and make sense of it all. So I don't know. I think
By the way, this is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I know
you're
you get
good,
mad at
buddy.
me about that. But this is what I was referring to. I believe this is Rage Child. I think that just shared it while we were streaming. I saw the
What's up,
notification
Rage
pop
Child?
up. So this is the beyond recognition is what I am bringing this up. I know we already talked about this angle, but I just want to hone in on that because we mentioned that kind of like, I don't know, did they say beyond recognition? Because Las
Yeah.
Vegas say that the Trump Cybertruck bomber was identified by military ID and passport found the vehicle because his body was burned beyond recognition. So somehow
Our subject.
a paper
is-
passport and military ID survived the explosion. I honed in on this because this looks like I'm assuming this is a wreckage from the explosion. This is all the burnt out shit. I don't know how long. I mean, maybe I don't want to watch this 3-minute video. So if you guys know how long this was cooking for, let me know. I mean, that looks pretty cooked. So now that I think about it, I think it may have sustained a fire for a while because people are right. That is a thing with the batteries. I think they will stay because there is like kind of a chemical element going on inside those vehicles. It will maintain fire as opposed
You remember
to
that
like
apartment
just
building
being a
that
flash
collapsed
fire.
in Florida, wasn't it? That apartment building that collapsed in Florida and all the Teslas were on fire and they
Oh,
couldn't put
yeah.
them out. And it
Yep.
was like this, yeah, dude.
So that's what I'm
That's
getting at. I
good.
think it may have
Uh-huh.
done that because you look at all these seared components here. So that is leaning more toward, and supposedly, I don't know if they say in here, he put in quotes beyond recognition. So I'm assuming maybe someone did say that. So it is believable the body would be beyond recognition because it wasn't just a flash fire; it was a sustained fire, is what it seems like. And then, but it also on the same note, it's also bizarre that a paper passport, and military ID survived the explosion. Now I wonder when they say paper, or they say passport and military ID, if they just meant passport, not paper passport. And I'm wondering if the military ID has your paper or has like your passport on it. I never had to get a passport but I know sometimes in the military you do if you're someone who like goes on a lot of TDYs. Like I never did. I only deployed once. Now, if I had been someone who was like what was called a dedicated crew chief or a flying crew chief, I mean, like you go with the plane when it's going, different spots around the country or around the world. If I'd done that, I would have had to get a passport. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to electronically put that on the military ID, and that's what they mean. Because it is beyond belief that a paper passport would survive this explosion. But a military ID, it's believable, but it's still like it's kind of hard to believe considering the looking at this. I mean, maybe there were pockets where it wasn't on fire. I don't fucking know. I mean, there's ways that it possibly could have survived. I guess a small, hard plastic item. It could have been somewhere, I mean, because these are usually things people keep in their wallets. So maybe you had a metal wallet. I don't know. You know what I mean? So there are ways that could survive. Paper passport, I find very dubious. But I mean, even the military ID, I mean, it is funny. It's hard not to point out that it's like 9/11, but
Right.
I'd say it's probably this, at least it's in the realm of possibility as opposed to like 9/11 was just like, dude, this guy was in the air in a fucking explosion. You're like, fucking ID right there.
Exactly. So ridiculous, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. I only brought that up just because the beyond recognition thing, since we were talking about that, to reinforce that thing we were talking about before.
Right.
Yeah. These guys. What's up, Jules?
Hey,
What's up, dude?
Jules. My brother.
When you get a passport now, you can also get an additional card, which is different, but still a passport. Okay, this is from JB. So you could get another thing that's like a military ID, some sort of ID-like thing. Because now something like that, like as I was saying, like let's say he had a metal wallet. If you did it, let's say he had some sort of, let's say passports aren't paper and they're like a military ID now. If he had it in some sort of metal wallet or something, yeah, it maybe, or in some sort of glove compartment or something like that, somewhere where it was like safe from fire. Then yeah, they could have survived easily, I think. But now if they were exposed to the same fire that his cooked ass body was, no,
Right.
I don't think so. But I know it's more in the realm of plausibility as opposed to the last shit, as opposed to 9/11 at least. So.
Well, I'm reading about this. I remembered this article that I had just briefly skimmed earlier. And so I pulled it back up again, and it was from the Times of India, and it was about friends and family struggle to reconcile Shamsuddin Jabbar's past with New Orleans attack. No terrorists to me. And then it goes through all his friends and family, essentially, grappling with this, just unbelievable reality that they're facing at this moment, and claim that he was always extraordinarily kind. That's one of his neighbors, the 70-year-old woman. He was always kind and helpful. He was a good man, high school leader who inspired respect. It's just like James Holmes in many ways as well, right? Because James Holmes was considered to have been a leader in the classroom and was put in this sort of a leadership position because he had influenced his classmates to such an extraordinary degree. And so I'm not at all surprised that this is what I'm seeing from all the friends and family closest to him, is that this guy had like a stellar reputation, right? So
Yeah.
it's entirely out of the ordinary for him to have committed some sort of act, as violent as this. That's all that I would consider, and I think is important to at least acknowledge as it's being claimed by the people who have clearly known him longer than any of us. And who knows as far as the credibility of these individuals, but I don't know why this 70-year-old neighbor of Jabbar would have any reason to lie, named Marilyn Bradford. But anyway,
Yeah.
it just goes to show none of this seems to fit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
unless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
Unless. By the way, it's surprising we're doing pretty well view wise today. We were at one point near 50 live viewers on both Rumble and YouTube, so separately. So both having 50 or ish. So hey, man, guys, hit that like button while you're here. We got a lot of people in here around this time. So if you're here, if I'm not seeing around 50 likes, then fuck you guys. You guys are lazy pieces of shit. But yeah, just hit that like button. It takes almost nothing from you guys. I appreciate when you showed up. All right, this one's from Sovereign Bra. He's also pointing out inconsistency here. He said, ISIS flag hung upside down on the pole. Oops. Which, I don't know, is that upside down? I don't even know. I mean, I guess
heard
there's
a lot
a pole
of different
there.
reports on this ISIS flag, right? I heard that it was in the truck bed, in the vehicle itself.
Well, me and you
it was
talked
found.
about that. That's what I'm saying, because it said, we saw multiple reports, me and you were reading, where it said in truck. But then I did point out, like, that pole was coming from inside the truck bed, if I remember correctly. You know what I mean? Like, it was secured that way. So it was like, technically, you could say that was inside the truck, even though it was like inside the truck bed.
Dude.
But it's like, which is like kind of an exterior, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe they're being sloppy. I don't, you know what I mean? It is bizarre. Look at this photo too. That looked like a jacket, and it's weird how it was like this. So I don't know. Maybe it got wrapped around when he was driving. I don't know. Something's odd, or they intentionally obscured it, put a zip tie or something on it. Something odd is going on here in the second photo with it. But anyways, still has creases on it from being recently purchased, which you can see the creases actually pretty.
That's so
well.
funny.
So look, you
Dude,
can see like, and I'm not talking about like just like two creases, like a sloppy full, but like down to like a very, very precise. Like you can, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Can you see my mouse or no?
Yeah, I can see.
You can. So you can see the creases. I'm kind of falling over right here. You can see like small, like it was folded nice and tight just from the store. Like you can see the crease here. That is pretty well. And then you can see
we forgot to get the ISIS flag.
This is why I almost thought it was a jacket. Now that they mentioned creases, I almost thought it was a jacket because you can see what almost look like pleats or some shit, almost like the floofy jacket that bitch was wearing earlier.
Right.
Like that's kind of the same almost, but I think that might just be creases from it being newer. All right, possibly.
That's so funny, dude.
3. The alleged ISIS terrorist was a U.S. Army vet born in Texas. Smells like a false flag attack. Reminds me of passports. Miraculously found the ground after 9/11. The hilarious part of that part is that I don't think we'd actually gotten to the ID in the separate case with the Cybertruck, because these are two different things. Once again, I know we're probably I'm not trying to confuse you guys. You guys might accidentally conflate the one. We are talking about the New Orleans, running over and shooting at the cops incident. It says, turns out our alleged ISIS jihadi had drinking problems, strictly prohibited in Islam, and was registered with the Texas Real Estate Commission under the Jewish names Eli and Sham.
No, dude.
Under an alternate spelling of the name Shem. How interesting. Keep in mind, I think it was actually in here. I don't know if I swear the bookmark system's not the greatest because sometimes it loses them. But actually, you know what? This is exactly what I was looking for. There was something I saw, which is like I thought I bookmarked it. Maybe I didn't. But look, it says Israel's ISIS commander captured in Libya, revealed to be an Israeli Mossad agent. There was something I had bookmarked that was like a story about this. The idea of like, yo, do we have these ISIS entities that are really, because I mean, what is ISIS other than a creation of the deep state?
CIA, yeah.
You know, so it's like, or if you go even deeper, Mossad.
Yeah. Well, again, you already know. I believe there's no real distinction there, man. You know what I mean? It's like MI6, British and French intelligence, that Saudi intelligence. I mean, right? Yeah. Like, I see no difference there. They're all like inevitably overlapping, providing plausible deniability to each other, right? Which is typically how it happens. And so they'll stage domestic terror operations under the guise of plausible deniability by using foreign intelligence assets. That's all that they do. And then they can use that as a way to point to an outside influence. Oh my God, we have this, right? This international terrorist organization that's staging terrorism. And clearly it was all just a manufactured crisis, right? And I think that's what typically happens with these organizations.
I do want to give caution real quick. This Eli Sham thing that we were talking about and how it's supposedly, somewhat Jewish names. They are kind of Jewish names. You hear that a lot. Eli, Shem, Sham, those are common ones. It says this is from trctexas.gov. It says alternate names Eli or Sham. So this is weird. I'm assuming this is like your license number. So this is for his real estate thing. So these are supposedly his alternate names in real estate, I guess, which is bizarre.
Yeah, he had
that you would go by
Shamsuddin
Jabbar. Where are you getting Eli from? I mean, Sham makes sense. Shamsud, Sham. But I'm just saying that it's not. I mean, these are just nicknames. So I mean, they could mean absolutely nothing. I'm just also throwing that idea out there when it comes to weird stories like this, that it's not all that uncommon for ISIS things to be, Fed-ish. So I don't know. This is extremely weak. I just want to be very clear. Extremely. It is weird that is his. I mean, maybe he has a middle name in there somewhere, Eli or something. I don't know, but it is bizarre that was used for his. But yeah, that's weak. It's just a nickname on his site, but it is weird he'd go by that name. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that specifically?
Man, I am just like, the further we go down this rabbit hole as far as the details are concerned, I'm just honestly, I'm very much looking forward to getting some more of the details revealed to the public, as far as, even if it is, incredibly difficult to find the excruciating details that prove that this is a ridiculous narrative as far as on its face. It's already proven to be that. So as far as I'm concerned, I guarantee you there will be further evidence that proves a lot of what we're saying to be the right, much more plausible alternative narrative for this story, for both of these stories. And I think that, man, this goes back to these generational sting operations that they've been running for how fucking long, man? You know what I mean? And they've been we already know they've been setting up autistic kids all over the country for how long to get them to to engage in this FBI plot, right? So they can crack down and gain further finance or funding, and so yeah, it's just a part of the playbook. And when you have people like CIA clandestine services case officer for over basically 30 years named David Steele coming out and saying things like, most terrorists are false flag terrorists or are created by our own security services. in the United States, every single terrorist incident we have had has been a false flag or has been an informant pushed on by the FBI. In fact, we now have citizens taking out restraining orders against FBI informants that are trying to incite terrorism. We've become a lunatic asylum. I mean, that's from actual clandestine service case officers, and it's like when you have, members of Marine Corps intelligence and they're coming out here and attempting to expose this reality to the public. So we no longer fall for these ridiculous narratives and into the partisan trap and believe that this is all within the lens of the culture war, right? It's more than that, man, right? It always is. And so that's why I don't know. It's so convenient to just put this within the political, partisan lens and believe this was inspired by, these dissidents who are outraged at whatever has just transpired and with the various political administrations or the transition to Trump or whatever the fact is, right? Whatever the case is, that they're attempting to have us believe this narrative. To me, it's not at all plausible at this point, and I see it much more as the years of lead. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is domestic destabilization, right? This is order out of chaos, right? Like, this is the long-standing strategy, the clandestine technique, the sadistic machinations of the globalist framework and the bureaucratic oligarchy. And so I don't know. I think at a certain extent, like, how can we continue to buy these ridiculous stories, right? And that's why on New Year's Day, when all of this is surfacing online and everyone's doom scrolling and feeling demoralized, or that's by design. You know what I mean? Like, and so at the very least, for your own sake, attempt to kind of, arm yourself with the ability to not fall into that very trap. And that's all we can hope to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. I did want to address, I have a super chat from Fire Pixie, $10 in Rumble, or I guess Rumble rant, not super chat. It says 2025 told 24 to hold my beer. LOL. Damn. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys, I do want to remind you guys can send Rumble rants and we will be sure to address them. I just got to keep an eye on old Rumble. And I think you should soon, Austin, hopefully here soon. It looks like, I believe it's 1,000 is the Rubicon you have to cross in order to get monetization. So you should be monetized on YouTube somewhat soon.
Yeah.
So,
I got an alert. It said
for however long that lasts,
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm worried.
But in the future, you'll be able to on Already Dead, you'll be able to, if you for whatever reason don't like Rumble rants or don't have Rumble, you can go to Austin's YouTube and you'll be able to give super chats. So yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm certainly going to set up my Rumble finally but I'm also going to attempt to finally get my Patreon a little bit more, customized and
pretty,
offer. Yeah. I'm going to try and do that.
To you guys, I promise I will at some point put the ad-free RSS feed or try to put it in there. Haven't had the chance. Been doing this shit every day. Been in the days that I'm not doing this, I'm usually working, like actually working. So I'm just hustling. Very rarely I've had days not to do shit. By the way, guys, we're getting close to 50 live viewers on YouTube, and I think Rumble, as well. So hey, hit that like button. But let's go to some content here. I wanted to run through Shamsa Dinjabar's LinkedIn profile.
Oh God.
It was deleted, but here is the remains of it. Here is a long list. So current job, information technology team chief at U.S. Army Reserve. That's what it said. I don't know if he still was an Army Reserve. So, I mean, he could, to be clear, that doesn't mean he was still in the military. He could have been a civilian contractor of some sort, working as an IT guy. That doesn't necessarily mean he was, in the reserves or even active duty, because sometimes they have active duty people who are assigned to reserve units. So I don't know if he was. It says previous jobs: information technology team leader at U.S. Army Reserve, information management officer at U.S. Army, senior information systems specialist at U.S. Army, human resources supervisor at U.S. Army, human resources specialist at U.S. Army, data entry operator at U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, data entry clerk at U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, data entry clerk at U.S. Postal Service. Okay, yeah, so he's at Postal Service, Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Army, Army Reserve. So, I mean, it looks like even with him out, I mean, maybe he's in the reserves. It sounds like, if I had to guess, that maybe he's either a civilian contractor or he is in the reserves, or both. Because he could be doing the 1 weekend a month reserve thing, and then also doing for a civilian job, he could be still going to the same place, but working for the reserves as some sort of nerd job. So it really is any number of these. So it could. And
he's the dude employed by the CIA contractor, essentially, right?
Which we'll get to that. I don't know if that's in there. I remember on the video we watched, I'm not seeing it so far, actually,
or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah, weird. You know what? We also don't know when this LinkedIn profile was made. So this could have been made while he was in the military still. So maybe this.
Yeah, because I looked and it's for sure been documented in public that he worked for that company.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and on a limb here and guess that this is probably old. I'm going to assume this is probably what was made while he was still in the military, the reserves. Just a little inside baseball for those who aren't aware. If you do join, at least active, I don't know about like reserve or guard or whatever, when you get out, like they send you to like a whole like multiple week course of like how to transition to normal life and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things they do is have you make like a LinkedIn profile. So this could have been something he made while he was in the military, never did anything with, never even used LinkedIn or whatever, but just kind of listed all the different stuff he did in the military, which I will say, when it comes to military stuff, this could be, look at it, there's like all these different examples, this really may not mean much. The military has a good job of being like, oh, you're a combat engineer, and it's like, well, what do? I dig a ditch. You know what I mean? Like the military is good about that sort of stuff, to where it sounds like when you put it on paper, you're like, whoa, what is this? But then when you like see what it really is, like he literally like these could all just be somewhat various different versions of the job he was. So he basically could have been doing the same nerd job the whole time, just in different spots, slightly different positions, slightly different. So I don't know exactly what this nerd fucking did, but he did nerd shit. I can tell you that, and he did it for the military. I don't know what he did after the supposed information technology team chief at the U.S. Reserve, because it does look like. Let's go through his education, though. Education, Central Senior High School, Bachelor's of Business Administration from Georgia State University, graduate from Fort Gordon NCO Academy. So that's just for those, inside baseball. Once again, if you're in the military, when you become an NCO, which is like E5 through, or E4 through, I don't know, they might depend on the branch, but Air Force was E5, E6, E7. You were in the NCO rank. So that just means he got to that rank at some point. Bachelor's degree, transferred from Campbell University, graduate from 25B Information Technology MOS training. That's literally his tech school, military tech school. Graduate from U.S. Army Alaska NCO Academy. How many goddamn NCO academies do you go to? I mean, I don't know how an Army works, but usually, at least in the Air Force, you have one NCO academy. Then when you become a senior NCO, which is E7, E8, E9, you at some point have to go to senior NCO academy. So, I don't know. It's weird. There's two of them. I don't know how Army works, though. Associate from Central Texas College, associate's degree from Central Texas College, honor. Graduate from 42A Human Resources Special Advanced Individual Training. That's just some sort of military training for his job, it sounds like. Graduate from basic. All right, there's nothing really actually that interesting in that part. I just wanted to go through it. That's mostly just military training of some sort. And then, he has like a bachelor's degree, which okay, that's about it. I mean, they sound crazy. Basically, he graduated high school. He graduated from basic training. He graduated from his tech school for the military. He took a follow-up training that every military member gets when they get that rank, and he got a bachelor's. So that just want to simplify for that. A lot of people might try to be reading something fancy from there. There's nothing. I don't see anything. Even looking at the school he went to, it's a state university. It's nothing. I don't know. It's not anything interesting.
Right.
So I'm just letting you guys know, because I know most people aren't familiar with military jargon or what any of this shit means. This is mostly just gimme shit. He had several LLCs registered in Texas and Georgia, mostly seem to be real estate related. An X account now deleted where he was active until 2021. Previous arrest in 2002 for driving a suspended license. This is a deleted tweet. # me. I mean, that doesn't mean, that's just a picture of him. I mean, whatever. Yeah, I mean, then here's some tweets of his. I don't know. Building people's trust is easy. Just make your words exactly match reality. People always trust your word. I don't know. These just sound like kind of, boilerplate. Like, I don't know. It seems like you used Twitter for a little while. They're getting hard to. I know. I'm not seeing anything interesting really, particularly. He was in a recent divorce and legal custody battle, which we've talked about. Here's just more tweets. It's a shoot the guns type of Saturday morning. So here's the thing of him, I guess, shooting guns one day. This was 30 January. Here's a tweet from him saying, scarcity mindset is unhealthy in an abundant environment. An abundance mindset will lose in a scarce environment. Too many come from scarcity but can't turn the scarcity mindset off. Then we call it trauma. Sounds like Sam Tripoli might be involved somehow.
I love it.
Okay, and then here's another one. It says, anyone making a movie with a black man playing character that's not submissive, immoral, or silly/immature. I haven't seen one since Black Panther. Okay, I don't know, whatever. Okay, cool. We got some black nationalism going on here. Here's a video that we were talking about before. I believe this is where you said that people said that they saw the thing about him working. It says, Blue Meadow Properties Group, team lead, the Midas Group. Is this where you said you got the idea of him working at some other spook thing? I didn't know if it was in the banner or if he says it. Maybe he says it in here. Let's play it real quick.
I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with Blue Meadow Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service.
All right, I'm not seeing it there. I swear we saw. I don't know where we saw the tidbit that he worked for that one weird Fed group, that the glowy tech Fed group.
Right. I know. I had something pulled up earlier that actually said as much, that he worked for this company. Let me find it real quick, because it actually is.
I did want to comment again real quick though, where he mentioned his job, the IT specialist and human resource specialist. I mean, now those could mean nothing, but I believe the spec ops guy also held those positions at some point as well. So don't know what that means. I don't know enough about Army MOSs to really be able to break that down for you guys. Could mean nothing, but it is weird. I mean, tech, human resources. I mean, human resources could mean a lot, could mean nothing. Because I mean, all that just means is managing humans. So if you have a military unit, it's not that crazy. They would have some sort of human resources, something or other. But now, what does that mean specifically? Right. I don't know. So I mean, it could be, but I don't know. Weird. Worth mentioning at the very least. So this is from the first. I missed it though. Investigators are reviewed video of 3 men and a woman placing explosives in probe of the New Orleans attack. So this is old, but this slipped my mind. I wanted to make sure this got mentioned in the show at some point. That I guess apparently I haven't seen any source for this other than just the disclosed TV saying it. But supposedly that I guess it's out there that investigators have reviewed a video. So that's where we're getting the idea of additional. I don't know if I'm going to see if I have the tab saved, but I did see also recently, I believe it was yesterday, they're saying now the official narrative is that it's not connected to other stuff. So
interesting.
Even though on the first we're being told they've seen videos of people placing explosives. Now it says in quotes placing explosives. Now did they misidentify? Maybe it looked like maybe they were placing something else. I don't know.
No, so they said authorities were reviewing actual video evidence, right, of these additional co-conspirators planting these explosive devices. And that's what I found. It's the same as I believe even that CFR dude said the same thing. The whatever the hell his name was, I forgot it now. Bruce Hoffman. But yeah, when I looked up this Deloitte, right, there's a Fox Business article on it, and there's a few different International Business Times Singapore edition has one as well, saying that Shamsuddin Jabbar earned $120,000 annually, yet faced crushing debts before launching attack, allegedly. And he was making a 6-figure salary at Deloitte. Once a high-earning IT professional with this company
Where
with
are you seeing
CIA
this at? Where'd you say
connections.
you saw this at?
This one is the International Business Times.
Okay,
and
so
then
this is
there's
saying he
also
did
a
work for
Fox
Deloitte.
Business.
Was this saying he worked for Deloitte or just saying stuff
Oh, yeah.
about Deloitte? Okay.
No,
okay.
he worked for them. He had a 6-figure salary.
6-figure
working
tire from the time period. Was he working for them currently, or when
So
did this
Jabbar's
stop?
life, let me see. Employed at Deloitte, he earned $120,000 annually. Yet beneath his professional success lay personal turmoil, financial troubles, blah blah. Let me see.
To be fair, 120,000, depending on where you live, and if you're going through a divorce,
Right.
you may be living in a shitty little fucking house. I mean, you'll still be able to make it work, I think, unless you're just incredibly
He
awful
had
with your
3
finances.
marriages, I think, as well.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need 6 figures at that point, dude.
Hell yeah. For sure. But
Okay,
let's see. He
so he's
served
on
in
his
a
third
staff level
family.
role since being hired in 2021. So
Oh,
there
so he
you
got
go.
hired by Deloitte in 2021?
Yeah, buddy.
So it looks like he may, at the very, okay, he was within 4 years of working there. Now, we don't know when he quit or if he was still even working there, right? You
I
haven't
believe
seen
he
a
was
termination
still
date.
employed there.
Oh,
And
shit.
because the company itself, yeah, okay. Yeah, the company itself says they are, working with the authorities, right, and cooperating.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make any public statements to the media.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
still
this-
have that. I still have that article about Deloitte. We don't have enough time for today. I totally had forgot I'd saved it to cover later because I actually have that saved, and I was planning on covering on one of these. I'm thinking I might end up doing one of these this weekend. So I might end up doing whether it's Saturday or Sunday or both or whatever. So I'll probably cover the Deloitte stuff to dig in a little bit deeper into that. But that's. Yeah, still wild that this dude. We got Dr. saying dude was a paper pusher, a Mike Walls veteran. Yeah, I tend to agree when I see human resources or nerd shit like IT or something or other. But the problem is, though, that there's such a wide range that it's like it also can be a perfect cover for, because technically if you're an IT guy, that could mean that you're doing like hyper specialized NSA spying on people shit, or you could be just some dude filling out Excel spreadsheets.
Right.
And when it comes to HR, that means you could literally be someone who goes, all right, you can't call Wong a chink, Jimmy. You just can't.
Right.
Or you could be the guy who's literally organized, literally managing your resource of humans. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to Fed shit. Like so that
Absolutely.
because human resources is also like a coded term that you hear sometimes as like a coded term for spy shit. Sometimes
Oh,
you will
yeah.
see that. You'll say like, oh, he worked, human resources specialist, or because it is like technically that you're dealing with the resource that is humans. You are
Oh, yeah.
interacting with humans. So it is like.
sure.
It's like one of those like covers. It's like, well, technically it's true,
Mhm.
so it's one of those. So I don't know,
With-
and the fact that both of them were these at one point in their career is odd. So, and also it's like, yeah, paper pusher, but it's like, yeah, but then he got a fucking job when he got out of the military for over 6 figures with a very very glowy tech entity.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know.
Looks
I mean, yeah,
exactly like-
sure, maybe he was pushing paper there, but it's like
Right.
looks weird for sure.
Absolutely. Especially like you remember when I covered the Pulse nightclub shooting. Like I began the episode with the mind war, the psychology of victory, right? And my God, brother, like just going through the fact that both of these events are directly connected to Fort Bragg. And then for a fact. I mean, Major Gregory Cease, I mentioned him in that episode. He's an educational psychologist serving as the chief of the PSYOP training branch of the JFK Special Warfare Center and Schools Directorate of Training and Doctrine at Fort Bragg, right?
Yeah.
What are they saying?
This is Alan that shows up for laws. Deloitte is a government contract company. I know this because I work at a hotel and they all get government rates and aren't taxed.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So there's some weird spook shit going on in those
That's
huge accounting
hilarious.
firms like KPMG. His other name is Eli Sham. Well, it said Eli and Sham, so it's like they were separate names. So it was like they were like his aliases, like those are his nicknames. Some people call him Eli, some people
Wow.
call him Sham. They didn't call him Eli Sham. So
You know what this reminds me of? Specifically, is the '93 World Trade Center false flag bombing, because
yeah.
the murderer.
Wait, sorry. Before I lose this thread, someone's mentioned
No, go ahead.
KPMG. Did he work for KPMG too?
I don't know.
Because
I have
that's
no idea about
someone's mentioning KPMG in the chat. There said accounting
Oh,
firms
shit.
like
Hold on, let
KPMG.
me
Is
look.
that what he worked? So there's
I'll look it up.
some weird, because I don't know if he worked at an accounting firm as well,
Yeah.
called KPMG. All right.
The
Well,
hell?
let's move
I
on to a
gotta
different
remember
tab.
this. I gotta remember.
Maybe the
this guy's
chat will let
name.
us know in a second, or you'll remember. But let's move on to some more tabs. So this is one I wanted to bring up because I ran out of specific information. We're out of specific stuff. But let's kind of look at big picture stuff. We got Donald Trump here, which, I mean, it seems like he's obviously referring to these incidents. He says,
Oh God, yeah. I
our
saw
country
that.
is a disaster, a laughingstock all over the world. This is what happens when you have open borders with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, FBI, and Democratic state and local prosecutors have not done their job. They are incompetent and corrupt, having spent all their waking hours unlawfully attacking their political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from the outside and inside violent scum that's infiltrated all aspects of our government and our nation itself. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen in our country. The CIA must get involved now, before it's too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all across our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again. Now, I will say, whatever, I'm fine with this entire statement, except for one sentence. One
Yeah.
exact sentence that just seemed like,
I know that one.
why did you even throw that in there?
You
The
motherfucker. Yeah.
CIA must get involved now, before it is too
Now.
late. Why? I don't understand how you would see all of these things and then go, you know what we need more of? CIA.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Yeah. Whitney Webb had a good
I loved
clap back for this. The CIA must get involved now before it's too late. A call to have the CIA involved in domestic policing from the guy who was supposedly being constantly targeted by the CIA, all because of an alleged terror threat based on groups created and arguably still managed by the CIA, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, checks out. 2025 is shaping up to be the year of Make Palantir, a CIA front company, great again.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Whitney.
She nailed it.
She's such a killer, dude.
Mhm.
I love her.
Yeah. All right. I did want to cover this real quick. Brent Shirai has been arrested after he planted an IED in a train car in Payette, Idaho. The Nampa bomb squad was called and successfully detonated the device using a robot. The incidents halted rail traffic in the area for over 5 hours. Got Evan Raffo in here saying, is this guy from Fort Bragg? I don't know, dude. I don't know. This is, I think maybe we might have more of this going forward. If any of you guys know anything about this Brent Shirai guy, if this ties into any of our stuff, let us know. But I'm just letting you guys know that was I believe we had talked about this actually yesterday. I think that might have been a thing we talked about, or maybe I just saw tweets after about it. But so this is, following up on the thing in Idaho, Payette, Idaho. They got a guy because I remember seeing things about, some stories about supposedly an IED. Now, is this connected? I don't know. I assume maybe we'll see more in the future. If you guys see more, let us know for sure. Yeah. And then I only have like one more thing I wanted to go into, but you have anything before we kind of get to wrapping these up, because we're getting near 2 hours here. So.
Honestly, basically the last thing that I wanted to mention, I was about to mention a second ago, was essentially just this crazy, strange kind of reflection. It's almost mirroring this New Orleans case in a certain way, which is when Nasser, one of the Blind Sheik's men, El Said Nasser, was arrested for the murder of Rabbi Meir Kahane in 1991. Dozens of Arabic bomb-making manuals and documents related to terrorist plots were found in Nasser's New Jersey apartment, with manuals from the United States Army, John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and School, SWCS, SWCS, at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, secret memos linked to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and 1,440 rounds of ammunition were also found in Nasser's apartment. And so it just, again, that's exactly what I see is this direct reflection of clearly we just went through the staged bomb making apartment. I guess that was an apartment. Was that a house? Technically, I'm not
Yeah, it
quite
was
sure,
like
but
a smaller house. I would say it was probably
right.
like a fucking 1,200 square foot house type deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I just see this it falling under these, unjustifiable terms of the mind war, right? The mission and motivation behind the mind war and the concept, which clearly represents a proactive approach to psychological operations rather than this traditional reactionary role, which is what they claim they, used to engage under that sort of, MOD, you know what I mean? Or not MOD, but mode of operations, right? And so it's like, honestly, when I read through the mind war again, like the psychology of victory, they legitimately like list these various techniques that they would utilize as Psychon 1, electromagneticus, Psychon 2, brainwave resonance, Psychon 3, magnetism, transcranial magnetic stimulation, magnetic reconnection portals, atmospheric ionization, hypnotism, magic, and what's called the phenomenon of religion in the context of something called internal religious psyop and the Army Chaplain Corps. And they talk about staging these various manufactured crises in a campaign starting with paramilitary operations under the guise of intelligence and utilizing emotion arousing violence false flags, right? Violent false flags, while sort of, targeting the ideals of philosophically, fundamentally of the individual themselves, right? So basically, the ultimate goal is to bring you under the fold of partisan nationalism, right? So like this sort of nationalist mindset to some degree, right? And whether that is on one side of the spectrum where you embrace communism and socialist policies, right? Or on the other side of the spectrum where you embrace the totalitarian technocratic state, thinking it's a plausible alternative to, you know what I mean? Like that's honestly what, when truly, inevitably we remain heading in the same consequential direction, I believe, right? And in result. And so, yeah, I see us in the midst of the mind war and the psychology of victory, and our enemies are utilizing every single technique and tactic at their disposal, and they will continue to do so. So I think at this point we need to stop underestimating them, and not only be aware of these various spook backgrounds that just raise all the red flags, but keep this in mind going forward, because we got to stop falling into these traps, right? And I think that's ultimately
Yeah.
what
All
we
right, I got a
should
couple more tabs for you to go through. I had one that came in last minute. I know it's from one of you guys. I figured we'd go through, but let's do this instead first. Let's cover this one real quick. We talked about this. It'll only take a second. We talked about this yesterday. I just kind of wanted to. Radix covered it. Has been covering it pretty well too. She, I guess, is shitting on Mario Nafal here. This is in response to the Kendall Pemberton guy, the dude who supposedly was going to cause problems with the APAC, cause attacks or whatever, and the FBI foiled it. We covered that yesterday, and I did say it seemed kind of dubious, like they really didn't do that much, and they kind of made a mountain out of a molehill. Radix, like I said, covered it. She said she reported this yesterday. The man had a mental health crisis, left a note, and his parents contacted the FBI. The feds tracked him down, and he told them he thought about doing something but changed his mind. So that's all that was. I was correct. It was a whole to-do about nothing. But all right, let's finish off on this. This is from one of you guys. Brandon here says, thought this was interesting as well. I Google the names on the board of Turo. Nearly all of them outside of Chelsea Clinton are Jewish.
Oh my God.
Almost most work in either Hollywood and mainstream media, and a Brofman in there as well. So this is from, he showed me a tweet. Brandon, one of you guys, said, Shadow of Ezra is the account that sent it. The tweet, it says, Chelsea Clinton, daughter of Hillary Clinton, sits on the board of IAC Incorporated, which holds a 31% stake in Turo, the car sharing app used by the terrorists in New Orleans and Las Vegas to rent electric vehicles for their attacks. IAC gained significant control over Turo with a $250 million investment in 2019. What's a conspiracy without a Clinton? Now, I will say this probably means a whole bunch of maybe nothing. It could mean something, but I just thought it was funny to bring up just because it's like, holy shit, right. Clintons once again. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's something to do with it. It seems like a kind of a flimsy connection. But with that, yeah, go ahead, bud.
Oh, I just that reminded me of James Wesley Howell from the LGBTQ parade attack in 2016, that same night as the Pulse nightclub shooting, who claimed that they executed Omar Mateen and his girlfriend because they were technically supposed to be, and there were a few others who were also involved in the Pulse nightclub shooting, and that's why Omar had mentioned a few other people had guns on the building, and that they would take out the federal agents as they arrived. But James Wesley Howell is the one who told, while he was in custody before the feds came in and basically refused to allow him to be interviewed any further by any other member of the media or any other local law enforcement representative. He says that he was at a CIA black site training camp after being radicalized through this Islam and lured there through this Islamic seminary course with Abu Taba, who, you look up that guy, he's just this black guy from who has this deep counterterrorism connection to right intelligence and is clearly a CIA asset. But either way, James Wesley Howell, he tells this reporter and this investigator that he saw, not only was he being trained at this black site with Omar Mateen and Michael Sanford, who did the Vegas assassination attempt on Trump, right? Not long afterward, like very shortly, because he named him as well as being trained at this camp because he was a British dude who was allegedly on the spectrum, but he even talked about the make and model of his car and that they were hanging out and like all these various details about the individual. They said he was kind of crazy, Michael Sanford. But anyway, James Howell says at this black site where they're being trained with Omar Mateen, he sees Uma Abedin and Hillary Clinton meeting with various intelligence officials, like this director, some sort of director on the operational standpoint of the black site, actually there. And who knows? That's a ridiculous claim to make, but I'm not entirely sure, of course, of as far as how accurate that is. But the level of detail that he provided in that account, man, and the way he spoke, it was very interesting, right? You have to at least consider it as a possibility. And so I'm not at all surprised that a Clinton could potentially be connected to this as well, because it shares all the hallmarks. It has exactly the same style of this sort of framework of this Islamic radicalization pipeline domestically, and also the implication is we have domestic terror camps, compounds staged all over the U.S. and we never know when these ISIS attacks will happen, right? Inspired by ISIS or whatever. And it's just like, man, how convenient, right? How convenient for the intelligence community and the apparatus to just, like you said earlier, green light these operations. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Like these moments happen, right? And I think that there are a lot of these various operations just ready to go, ready to pop off. They're lying in wait. They're being set up and and facilitated on any given day, I would imagine. I think that's just probably the status quo at this point. And the policy of, honestly, man, it's really Operation Chaos all over again in a lot of ways, right? So I think it's probably just some sort of extension of that at a certain point, right?
Yeah. Well, all right, man. We're at like 2 hours now. I think we had a good one. We hit. Man, we did probably better than we do normally on Already Dead so far. As Jesus, wow.
Yeah.
On a middle of a Friday. I think people are really interested in these stories. I
Definitely.
mean, the deep state's doing a good job again at keeping us sucked into these narratives right now. They're killing it. They're screenwriters. They're going wild. But yeah, Austin, you want to let people know where they can find you at, and make sure to stick around after the show because I think I have an idea that I'm going to throw your way that maybe we should do. Let people know where they can find you at, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. Maybe I'll do more this weekend. I don't know. But keep an eye out, for these around roughly this time. I'll hop in if you see them. But generally speaking, that these are usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but it all really depends on when I'm available, what I got going on. Like, for example, I think I'm saying maybe this weekend because I don't think my daughter has any wrestling tournaments this weekend. If she did, I wouldn't be doing them. So just throwing it out there, just kind of works around my days when I don't have shit going on in the morning. And I've gone to part-time, so it's like I'm working most Mondays and Tuesdays and a lot of weekends too. So it's just kind of when I'm able to. But if you want me to stop doing that, if you want me to do this full time and do this on the regular, give you streams every day, keep this up, or if you just want to see more of it, make sure you support. But same thing with Austin as well. Support what he's doing as well. I'd like to see more of his stuff going forward, and I think the market will keep rewarding him, and we will see more of his stuff going forward. But Austin, let people know where they can find you, and we'll get out of here.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, guys, just follow me at the Underclass Podcast. Support me. The best places would be Patreon and Buzzsprout. Like I said earlier, I'm definitely going to make a point to offer a few different things, kind of customize the Patreon this weekend, and hopefully get some sort of incentives out there as well. But anyway, I hope to increase my content output as well as much as I can. So I'm gonna attempt to be doing that, but beyond that, got nothing but love for all you guys. So I appreciate this. Jose, I love you, brother. And just follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, man, let's see what else happens in the first week of 2025, huh? Like, by God.
Hell yeah. Getting wild, guys. All right, guys. If you want to support what I'm doing, you can do that over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you the early content, like literally right now, actually premiering over on my YouTube. It started about a half hour ago. I had my interview with Jonathan Franklin. If you were a patron, you would have got that about a week ago. I also last night recorded with Broth, who's covered a lot of the the satanic neo-Nazi Fed type stuff. So there's a conversation there for you guys if you want to go support. That'll be out next week. But yeah, that's at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. There, like I said, that $2 also gives you to where you can be a talking head on me and Austin's call-in shows on Tuesdays. In the call-in portion of the show, you can do a video call-in if you are a patron. Also, I do want to let you guys know the highest level, that's my Patreon sponsors, and I give them a shout-out to every episode. I have my co-host on Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad. Also have at Abrogate D's at ZOVERACK. At _Infinite Zeal. Then I have Tim Tuttle at Jolly on Klebold. Then Will Bell has Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine. And then Torin May. And then also you can follow this guy at Twitter, on Twitter at Inward Lover, INWARD Lover. And I agree with that message. I think we should all start looking inward and learn to love ourselves and all be inward lovers together. But yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you're here and you're not liking, you're a dick. Takes you 2 seconds. Helps push out that message to the algos. Also, if you are on a audio podcatcher, please be sure to leave us a 5-star review. That way it helps pump it out to the masses. And if you follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose, I'll give you a big old smooch on the lips. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We are out. Deuces.